Hey, what's up, everybody? Excuse me. Um, Wanted to check in. I ran a live video on Friday, or was it now Thursday? Thursday last week. I was in the airport on the way to Minneapolis, or on the way to Salt Lake City, um, to to uh, to participate in the Pony Express 100, the 100-mile race. And again, in this attempt, it was my third attempt. That back in March, had decided that I wanted to run 100 miles by myself, and uh, and so I signed up for the Kettle 100, which is in Wisconsin, in June, and I made it about 63 miles, and got cut off. Ran out of time, and then went to Cleveland in July. I believe it was the Burning River 100, and made it about 75.6 miles. And one of the powerful things that I found in this process is I showed up here in Salt Lake City, did the Pony Express 100, completed it. Uh, there's just a lot of power when you become a person who truly does what they say that they are going to do. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to stumble, that you're not going to fail along the way, but to truly become a person that actually comes through and does what they say they're going to do, no matter what. There's a ton of power inside of that, and it really carries over to all things inside of your life. And it's just so powerful when you tell someone that you're going to do something, that they know that they can count on it, that they know that it is done. In my case, it didn't happen on the very first attempt like I had hoped or wished or dreamed that it would have. But this journey, I do believe, truly happened the way it was supposed to, I guess you would say. So it's an incredible feeling. Like I said, the first time I went about 63 miles, and then the second attempt about 75.6, and in completing this and finishing 100 miles, like, there's the realization that the first 75 miles of this 100-mile journey are really a buy-in to the actual run or race itself. It might even be 75 or 80 miles. And so if you could think about that, like, I'd never ran more than 26.2. I did an Ironman in 2008, and part of that race is a marathon at the end of the last portion of the triathlon. And that was in 2008. And since then, I hadn't gone any further than, I think, maybe a half a marathon one time in training. And so to take this 100-mile challenge on, based on my experience as a runner, was quite a lofty goal. And I think there were a lot of people that didn't necessarily believe that I could do it, and I wasn't sure that I could either. And I guess that's part of the reason that I do a lot of these crazy things, is just to see if I have what it takes to do it. And but yeah, it's just the whole process, right? Coming from March to have this crazy idea to do it, really coming off of the couch. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been active, and I've ran a little bit here and there, but really when it comes to 100-mile ultra endurance running events, it's just a whole different ballgame. And so the process that I went through to do that is a process that will carry over into all areas of my life forever. Can never be taken away. And it's powerful to be able to do some of these things. There's just so much carry over to all areas of life. I get asked the question every now and then, why do you do these things? Why do you sign up for these big events like Seal Fit Kokoro, or doing an Ironman, like I said, in 2008? Ultra running, Go Ruck selection. A big part of it is to see if I have what it takes, but also it's just the process It's a transformation of from who you are currently today to who you have to become tomorrow, or who you have to become 5 or 6 months down the road, or a year down the road, whenever that event would take place, to see, so that you can actually be successful and complete it. And so it just turns into this big process of growth, expansion, and continue trying to get a little bit better. And the same can hold true inside of your families, inside of your businesses, to continually grow, to continually climb, to continually get a little bit better, to not settle, to not get complacent to the point where you actually start to regress, but to continually try to progress up the ladder, if you will. You have to take on things that are going to push you outside of your comfort zone, right? Talk about the things that you truly want in life are going to be outside of that comfort zone. Because if you already had them, then it would be inside of that circle. If you can imagine a circle, and everything inside of it being the things that you're willing to do, is really your current reality. And anything that you want is going to be outside of that. And so to get it, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to push yourself outside of that comfort zone to get it. So another really big lesson that I've learned on this journey along the way. And there was a lot of moments throughout this last race where, mile 70 to 80, like I wasn't sure I was going to make it. Like I actually thought that, just the way I was feeling, my legs hurt, my feet hurt. They started to blister up pretty bad. My left shin was in extreme pain. My ankle was about the size of a softball. I had Jake McLeod. He was my crew. He was driving our vehicle and helping me out every time we would stop to get water, and just supporting me along the way, and it was amazing. But at one point, I don't know when it was, probably mile 80 or so, I took some tape out and just tried to compress and tape my shin up as much as possible to help keep the pain up, and my ankle was literally like the size of a softball. And he said after the race, he's like, yeah, when you're taping your shin, I looked over and I saw your ankle, and I was like, man, that wasn't good. He didn't say anything at the time, but he was like, holy cows, that looks horrible. And it was, but again, just continually pushing. If there's something that you want bad enough inside of your life, like, there's going to be some pain there, whether it's physically, like myself, and my body just hurts, my legs hurt every time I would stop and then get out of the truck and start going again. Those first few steps were the worst. But once you push through those first few steps, and you continue to move and you continue to move forward, the pain goes away a little bit. You take your mind off of it and you start to think about other things that will actually serve you to get to what it is that you want. So, incredible journey. Just wanted to come back on here and like I said, Thursday I had talked about my past failures and just using those failures as just information that I collected to help me to get what I want, to help me to succeed, and in this case to help me finish a 100-mile race. A big part of the process inside of this run was just the people along the way. There's one that I remember. Man, she was just this sweet soul. Her name's Martha, and she's from Colorado, and she's like, I don't know how old, I would guess about 70 years old. And she said, when she turned 60, she decided she wanted to do like a 50-mile run. And then she realized if she could do 50, maybe she could do 75. And then she realized if she could do 75, maybe she could do 100. So here she was out there just moving, just smile on her face, super nice. Her husband was in her car supporting her along the way. And, just talked for a little bit and got to know her and hear about some of the experiences that she's had along the way. And it's just, in anything that we're doing in any arena, whether that's physically in competition or it's in business or it's in life or it's at the airport or wherever it is, it's just be open and be aware and be present to those around you. We can get so caught up in our own mind, in our own world sometimes, that we could truly miss out on the opportunity to meet some amazing people. And so this time in the Pony Express, I was more open to that than at any other time, really. And it was just a great gift that I gave myself in a way, to be open to it, to not be stuck in my own mind, because there's times where I would be the guy that would just continue to walk head down and keep going, and not say hi, not take time to slow down a little bit and really get to know those that are around me. And so just powerful lesson for sure. So just a few last little takeaways from this process, and I'm sure I'll have more the more time that I have away from this. As I'm sitting in my hotel room, I was supposed to fly out this morning at 8:25, and I was like, there is no way. I just did not want to get out of bed. Moving slow, moving a little bit faster than I was yesterday, and then I was right away in the morning, but still moving really slow. And the thought of going to the airport, turning my car in, and carrying my bags around is not one that I like to think about right now. But so I pushed my flight back a little bit, and I'm glad I did, because I'm hurting for sure. I've had some incredible people help me through this process. Had a few different people help me with some coaching inside of running. Keith Rieger from Arizona, he'd done the Western States. He's done a lot of incredible different things, and just such a great dude, and a great heart. And also Richard McGrary, excuse me. He helped me early on with some tips on how to prepare myself for this, and just a few really good friends that helped me through this process as well. I had Rhett Laufenberger and Jake Sherman. Jake Sherman, a great friend of mine from being deployed in Kuwait. Incredible friend of mine. We grew an incredible friendship and bond, and whenever I tell him that I need something, or that I'd love to have him support me, he's in, man. And so are all these other guys that helped me out along the way as well, including Jake's friend Pete Best, and then like I said, Jake McLeod. He's our video guy, our storyteller inside of the Prosperity Revolution, and he was just amazing. Kept my spirits up, and just did a great job, and was a big part of the reason that I was able to be successful this time around. So be present. This is one that I've said so many times. Just be present. Anytime that I would start to think about how much further I had to go, or how much time I had left, took my focus off of me being in the present, the here and now. And those were the times when you can allow yourself to get to a dark place, a place of wanting to just throw in the towel or question why you're doing it. And so the moment that you have those, the moment that you start to realize those things, whether it's physically or any area of life, like what's going on, why am I doing this? Anytime you get out of the present into the future, or you start thinking about the past and maybe how you failed before, just like I'd failed attempting to finish a 100-mile run twice already. Like, if I were to start to focus on that would really take me out of the present, and again, open an opportunity for me to want to quit. And I can honestly say this time around that never really was a thought that came into my mind. Like, I never thought to quit this time around, and there were a few times where I definitely questioned whether or not I was going to make it. With mile 80 or 90, like I said, mile 70 to 80 were the toughest miles by far. I really went downhill. I kept moving forward, but I was like, if I keep this pace up, I don't think that I'm going to finish. And mile 80 or 90, I got the second wind, or you could always do more than you think you can. And that was definitely the case for me in mile 80 to 90. I knew, like, all right, I got to suck it up, I got to move, I got to go, and it's just a true testament that you can really do more than you think you can. And mile 80 to about mile 90, I was running almost a pretty similar pace, close to a 15-mile pace, which was about what I was doing the first 60 to 70 miles. And it was just digging deep, pushing through the pain, focusing on the right things, and continuing to move, which allowed me to then really take on those last 10 miles, which were tough. Like, the sun finally came up, which was nice, but you think at mile 90 that you have it licked, but you still got to finish the race. You still got to finish the journey. And there's too many people that get close to the finish line and they stop. For whatever reason, they quit. And those last 10 miles were hard. I was walking, I was doing all that I could. The finish line was almost so close that you could taste it, yet it still felt really far away. And just finish. Just keep moving forward. Just keep going. Just one step in front of the other. Like, that's all I can say is to finish. I see too many people, men and women, that come through our programs that I coach and that I help, and then outside of coaching and just in life in general, and so many people will get so close, and then they'll start to celebrate because they look back and they realize that, hey, I've came a long ways. Like, look where I started and look where I am now, and they just accept it as good enough. But then they never finish. They never actually get to where it is that they actually said that they wanted to be, and they settle. And I could have settled. I could have settled at mile 90 and said, that's good. I'm good. Look at this. Like, the furthest I'd ever gone was 76 miles. This is 90. I mean, it's good enough. And yet I didn't, and I finished. And it just feels so good to finish. Like, as I went to finish, it's hard to explain the emotion that came through when I finally did get to cross that finish line, and like a little bit of overwhelm, and almost got emotional. And I kind of have that right now, and I really don't even know why. But I suppose it's just an accumulation of the journey, right? From the very beginning and starting on this, signing up for the Kettle 100. I mean, really kind of coming off the couch. Anyone that knows anything about running, or especially about 100-mile races, and looking at a guy my size, 6'3", 225, there's not a lot of the guys or women out on a 100-mile race course that look like me. Let's put it that way. And so, yeah, it's just this incredible overwhelm of the entire experience of realizing that you actually did it, and how good that feels. And then just knowing that, to take, like, it would be one thing for me to finish this 100-mile and then go back to life as it was, right? And really would do a disservice to the entire journey and to the entire process. A whole nother to have an accomplishment like this, or to achieve a goal like this, and then to take what you've learned and to continue to apply that into your life, to continue to push you forward, to continue to grow and not to settle, and continue to get just a little bit better along the way. Not to be perfect. We talk about progress, not perfection, all the time. And so it's not about being perfect, but continuing just to get a little bit better. So appreciate all the hearts and the likes and the comments and the love that I got along the way. Like I said, I'll probably make a post here too, but whenever you do something worthwhile that's pushed you outside of your comfort zone to make you a little bit better than who you are in your life, take advantage of that. What are the lessons that you've extracted from that? How can you make yourself and those around you, the people that you care about, your loved ones, how can you lift them up? How can you make them a little bit better? And just be aware of, whatever it is that you're doing in your life, just take that and apply it and continue to push and grow and get just a little bit better. So I love you guys. Love the support. What's up? 5-star Aaron Provençal. Appreciate you and the love and support that you're giving me and to everybody else that's watching here today. And hope that you have a great Sunday.